What if I told you that the treasure you're searching for your entire life is buried in the exact place you started, and the only way to find it is to leave home, lose everything, get robbed twice, fall in love, learn to talk to the wind, and nearly die in the desert first? That's the paradox at the heart of The Alchemist, a book that has sold over 65 million copies, been translated into more than 80 languages, and turned a broke, 41-year-old Brazilian writer into one of the most read authors alive. Bill Clinton was photographed carrying it. Madonna raved about it. And yet its message is almost embarrassingly simple. Follow your dream, and the universe will help you get there. Simple to say, brutal to live. Today we're unpacking every layer of Santiago the shepherd boy's journey, the omens, the desert, the alchemist, and the treasure, and what it actually means to pursue what Paulo calls your personal legend. Let's get into it. Before we open the book, it's worth knowing this. Paulo wrote The Alchemist as a kind of confession. When it was first published in Brazil, it flopped so badly his publisher dropped him after selling less than 1,000 copies. Paulo didn't quit. He kept believing in the book because, as he later said, it was him, his own journey, his own leap of faith into becoming a writer. He shopped it to another publisher, it slowly caught on by word of mouth, and years later it became one of the best-selling books in history. In other words, Paulo lived the exact lesson his own novel teaches. Keep that in mind, because it's not just a fable, it's autobiography wearing a fairy tale's clothing. The book opens with a short, strange myth. An alchemist reads the legend of Narcissus, the beautiful youth who died staring at his own reflection in a lake. But Paulo adds a twist. After Narcissus drowns, the forest goddesses find the lake has turned into a lake of tears. They ask the lake why it weeps for Narcissus. The lake replies that it never noticed Narcissus's beauty at all. It wept because every time he leaned over the water, it could see its own beauty reflected in his eyes. It's a strange little parable to open a book about treasure and destiny, but it sets the tone immediately. This is a story about seeing yourself clearly, about what we project onto the world and what the world reflects back at us. Keep this image in your pocket. It will matter again by the end. We meet Santiago, a young shepherd in rural Spain who has traded a life of studying to become a priest for a life of wandering with his flock. He loves the freedom of travel more than any fixed path. One night, sleeping under a sycamore tree that grows out of an old ruined church, Santiago has a recurring dream. A child leads him to the Egyptian pyramids and tells him a hidden treasure is waiting for him there. Shaken, he visits a gypsy fortune teller in a nearby town. She interprets the dream literally. Go to the pyramids, she says, and you will find gold, and asks for 1/10 of the treasure as payment. Santiago is skeptical, but before he can dismiss the whole thing, he meets a mysterious old man on a park bench who calls himself Melchizedek, the king of Salem. This old king introduces the idea that becomes the engine of the entire novel, the personal legend, what a person has always wanted to accomplish, the thing your soul was made for. Melchizedek claims that everyone in childhood knows their personal legend clearly. But as people grow older, a mysterious force convinces them it's impossible to achieve, and most people abandon it. Melchizedek also introduces the book's central spiritual claim, one you'll hear echoed dozens of times. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. He gives Santiago 2 stones, Urim and Thummim, black and white, which can answer yes or no questions when Santiago is unsure of a sign. In exchange for guidance, Santiago gives Melchizedek 1/10 of his flock. Santiago sells the rest of his sheep and sails to Tangier in North Africa to begin his journey toward the pyramids. It's his first time in a foreign land, and it goes badly almost immediately. A young man offers to guide him through the marketplace and instead robs him of nearly all his money. Alone, broke, and unable to speak Arabic, Santiago is at his lowest point before the story has barely started. Rather than give up, Santiago starts working for a local crystal merchant, sweeping his shop in exchange for food. He notices the merchant's business is stagnant. The man has his own unfulfilled dream of one day making a pilgrimage to Mecca, but he spent so long saying someday that he's terrified actually achieving it would leave him with nothing left to live for. This is one of the book's sharpest ideas. Some people fear realizing their dreams more than they fear never pursuing them at all, because a fulfilled dream can no longer motivate them. Santiago convinces the merchant to try new ideas, selling mint tea in crystal glasses to attract customers, staying open later, and business booms. Within a year, Santiago has saved enough money to buy back a flock of sheep twice the size of what he had before, and even enough to return home wealthy by local standards. But something in him won't let him settle. He realizes that returning to Spain would mean giving up on the pyramids, giving up on his personal legend, just to have security. So instead, he uses his savings to join a camel caravan crossing the Sahara Desert toward Egypt. Part 1 ends with Santiago choosing the harder, riskier path over the comfortable one, a choice the book will keep asking him to make again and again. Crossing the Sahara, Santiago falls in with an Englishman who is also chasing a dream. He's searching for a legendary 200-year-old alchemist rumored to live at an oasis, believing the alchemist can teach him to turn lead into gold. Through the Englishman, Santiago is introduced, for the first time, to formal alchemy, the idea of the masterwork, the pursuit of the philosopher's stone, and the elixir of life. The Englishman has books, Santiago has lived experience. Paulo uses their friendship to contrast two ways of learning, through study versus through the world itself, and gradually makes clear that Santiago's path of paying attention to omens and instinct is the deeper one. The caravan is tense. Tribal wars have broken out across the desert, and the caravan leader warns everyone to travel in near silence, extinguishing fires at night to avoid drawing attention. This danger becomes important later. Eventually, the caravan reaches the oasis of Al-Fayum, a neutral territory where warring tribes have agreed not to fight, filled with lush palm trees and hundreds of wells. At the oasis, Santiago meets Fatima, a young woman drawing water at a well, and falls instantly in love. In one of the book's most quoted romantic passages, Santiago realizes real love doesn't hold a person back from their personal legend. It should make the pursuit of that dream even stronger, because love that is genuine wants the beloved to become fully themselves. Fatima, a desert woman, understands this instinctively. She tells Santiago she will wait for him and doesn't ask him to give up his journey to the pyramids for her, because she trusts he'll return once his destiny is fulfilled. She has learned to be like the desert itself, which doesn't send messages after the wind that has passed through it, and simply waits for that same wind to return. Soon after, Santiago has a terrifying vision. Watching two hawks fighting in the sky, he sees an omen of an armed attack on the oasis, even though Al-Fayum is supposed to be neutral ground. He forces his way to see the tribal chieftains and warns them, staking his life on the vision. That night, the attack comes exactly as foreseen, and the oasis's warriors are ready. Santiago's life is spared, and his reputation as someone who can read the soul of the world spreads. This is when the real alchemist of the title finally appears. A man in black robes wearing a strange breastplate and riding a white horse, who has lived at the oasis for years, quietly pursuing his own alchemical experiments. He tests Santiago before revealing himself, watching to see whether the boy truly understands the soul of the world or has merely gotten lucky with one vision. Satisfied, he tells Santiago he's been watching him and offers to guide him the rest of the way to the pyramids, teaching him along the journey, though he warns that Santiago must leave Fatima behind, at least for now, if he wants to complete what he started. The alchemist explains the philosophy underneath everything Santiago has experienced, that there is a single force running through everything in existence, which he calls the soul of the world, and that a person who truly understands and pursues their personal legend learns to speak its language, the language of omens, signs, coincidences, and intuition that most people have simply forgotten how to read. The Alchemist also gives Santiago hard truths, not comfortable ones. He warns him that the closer a person gets to their personal legend, the more it becomes the true reason for living, and that the greatest lie in the world is the belief that at a certain point we lose control of our lives and become mere puppets of fate. He pushes Santiago to keep moving even when Santiago wants to stay at the OASIS forever with Fatima, and reminds him that a personal legend abandoned halfway through has a way of turning into quiet, permanent regret rather than genuine peace. As they cross the last, most dangerous stretch of desert, they're captured by a warring tribe who suspects them of being spies. To save both their lives, the Alchemist boasts that Santiago is a powerful sorcerer who can transform himself into the wind. Santiago is given 3 days to prove it or be killed. In the story's most famous and strange sequence, Santiago spends those days speaking to the desert, the wind, the sun, and finally to the hand that wrote all, realizing that everything in the universe is written in one language of love and connection. In that moment of surrender rather than force, the wind genuinely rises through him, and Santiago performs what looks like a miracle, turning himself into a great windstorm in front of the astonished tribesmen. This is the book's clearest statement that alchemy isn't really about chemistry. It's about a person purifying themselves enough to become one with the world around them. Freed, Santiago and the alchemist part ways near the pyramids. The alchemist has taught him everything he needed, including how to turn lead into gold using true alchemical process, but tells Santiago the real treasure was never the gold itself. Alone at last, kneeling in the sand at the foot of the pyramids exactly as in his original dream, Santiago begins to dig. Before he can find anything, a group of refugees from the tribal war find him and beat him, believing he's hiding money. As they're about to give up, their leader mockingly tells Santiago about his own recurring dream of a treasure buried under a sycamore tree growing out of a ruined church in Spain, but scoffs that he'd never be foolish enough to actually chase such a dream across an entire desert. Santiago realizes, in that instant, that his treasure was buried the entire time back home in Spain, under the very sycamore tree where his journey began. He returns to Andalusia, digs beneath the tree, and finds a chest of gold and jewels. True to his word, he sets aside a portion for the gypsy woman who first read his dream, and the wind, the same wind he once became, carries a message to Fatima that he is coming back to her. It's a deliberately circular ending. Santiago traveled across an ocean and a desert, was robbed twice, fell in love, faced death, and learned to read the soul of the world, only to discover the treasure was at home all along. But Paulo is careful to make clear this isn't a "there's no place like home" moral. If Santiago had never left, he never would have found the treasure at all, because he wouldn't have become the person capable of recognizing it, or capable of surviving the trip back once he knew where to dig. The journey wasn't wasted. The journey was the only thing that could have made the treasure real. A few threads run through the entire book, worth pulling out on their own. First, the personal legend, Coelho's term for a person's true calling, which he insists everyone has, and which most people quietly bury under fear, comfort, and other people's opinions. Second, the recurring line that when you want something, the universe conspires to help you get it, not as passive wishing, but as a claim that the world rewards decisive, sustained pursuit of a genuine calling. Third, the idea that fear of failure is what kills most dreams, not failure itself. We see it in the crystal merchant who never goes to Mecca, and in the crowd who never dares to leave home. And finally, the book's quiet answer to that opening myth of Narcissus. The treasure, the beauty, the destiny you're chasing out in the world was, in some sense, inside you the entire time. The outward journey is simply what it takes for you to finally recognize it. That's The Alchemist, a slim little fable that somehow contains an entire philosophy of living. If this summary resonated with you, the full novel is worth the few hours it takes to read, if only to sit with Coelho's prose directly. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe for more deep dive book summaries every week. drop a comment with what book you want covered next, and give this video a like if it helped you see your own personal legend a little more clearly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.